Hello, welcome back to another episode of Rapid Results with Andrew Weiss. We have an amazing, incredible guest today, Aya Shlachter. Her and I got the chance to connect in Podfest Asia in the Philippines, where she's basically Queen of the Philippines, Queen of Cleveland, Ohio. And she has a lot of amazing wisdom for us today. And in case you don't know who this Aya person is, she is a Filipino American founder and CEO of MGS Global Group, a company that accelerates growth for architecture and design firms worldwide by providing construction documentation services. Podcasting changed her life and transformed her business exponentially. Her podcast, Architect My Business, is a business growth podcast designed to help small businesses scale. In 2024, she launched AI for Architects, a new podcast focused on accelerating AI literacy in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. And she's also a keynote speaker and presents on topics such as business growth, marketing, and operations within the architecture sector. And on top of that, she also started her own chocolate company called Tablea, and hopefully we can get it over to the US at some point. Welcome, Aya. Tell us what's the biggest and best business deal you're most proud of?
Biggest, oh wow. When I first landed a big retail client, it's not a big deal, but it's the big company. Like when the first time I went on my own within a year, I landed Coach as my client, Coach bags. Within
Wow.
like 6 months of starting my consulting business. Yeah. So we designed a bunch of stores for them. That was that was a big flex considering, I just started my own.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's all. How'd you land Coach as a client? Did you have to like sneak in through a back door somewhere? Did you send a proposal? Like, how'd that come about?
I was a stay-at-home mom at that time. I took a break from work because my daughter was only like 6 months old. So a friend of mine who worked in Coach as a designer asked me they need extra hands. They're like, can we hire you to work from home? We're desperate. We're expanding so much. So I started working with them through a friend, and because I'm an entrepreneur, I hired, and I the work was not that complicated. I asked for more work because I can handle more. So I built a team from my one bedroom apartment in Jackson Heights, and we did over 300 stores in 6 months.
Wow. Oh my! You consulted for over 300 stores in 6 months?
Yeah, because I built a team in my apartment, and I hired friends and colleagues to work after work hours and the nights and weekends. So yeah, that was the beginning of my company, and I got a big client. It's like that doesn't happen to people who just start working, right? So I was lucky. I consider myself very lucky.
Oh, that's awesome. And it seems like everything you touch turns to gold. So, like, how many companies have you scaled to seven figures?
Only one,
Okay, that's still
MGS
good.
Global, but I'm pretty proud about that because I know a statistic that only 2% of women globally reach seven figures. So yeah,
And
that
so you get
that
to be
was
one of
one
those
of,
women. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
To show it's possible. That's great. And so, yeah, well, obviously, I do want to talk about your chocolate company a little bit because I love like how much you light up talking about it. I know your family's still involved. I know you're with MGS Global, but we'll come back to MGS Global a little bit. But
Yes, yes.
tell us a little about growing a chocolate company. Like, I feel like after everyone watches the movie Willy Wonka, like that's everyone's dream is to start their own chocolate company.
So it's interesting you ask. In 2008, when I was doing work for Coach bags and stuff, the Coach brand, there was a recession, right? So my husband and I and my daughter decided to move to the Philippines. But we didn't know the recession was there yet. Like we just moved because I wanted to build my drafting company in the Philippines. But then the recession hit and we ran out of work. So I was like, I tried different businesses, Andrew, believe it or not. I went to the malls and wanted to start a kiosk, a nail printing business. I helped my mom with her jewelry business. And I'm like, everybody loves food. And my mom had this perfect hot chocolate recipe that she used to serve during New Year's. That every when I was living in the United States, because we at this point I was already living in the Philippines. I'm like, I want to make a chocolate cafe that has, that uses my mom's hot chocolate recipe because it's so special. And that was the whole basis of the company. And that was a time when, I really wanted to explore different um, cacao farms. I actually met different farmers because I wanted the bean to bar experience, right? And in
Yeah.
the Philippines, the chocolate drinking tradition is almost like, it's not glorified because you have Starbucks and you have Coffee Bean, and like all of these fancy coffee shops were popping in, and the chocolate drink was like kind of like what the workers or like the laborers drank in the local markets. So I decided to open up a cafe that was similar to Starbucks or high-end chocolate store, to bring back the chocolate drinking tradition to the Philippines. And that the name is called Tablea Chocolate Cafe. I started this business when my second child was born. It seems like every time I give birth, I start a new business.
That's awesome. Well, and I love how you're
Yeah.
able to speak to that too, because I'm going to be a parent here pretty soon in October, and like I feel like a lot of people
Yes.
think, oh, once you become a parent, you can't do anything anymore except to be a mother essentially. And so like,
Oh, you know that's true actually, because people are like, "Oh, you're gonna be a mom." Like after 2 months of breastfeeding and like being at home, I'm like, I need to. I mean, I love my kids, but I need to do something else. So, yeah. So I started that business. We started it in the basement of my my house, and I started with a few pieces of chocolate bars, and that grew to like tubs of sugar, and like, like it was insane. I would travel all over the country to to really source our beans. And we nobody knew Tablea yet, and in the Philippines the malls are very strict. They don't just take people in. And I designed my own stores. I made it very cool, right? So I presented to all the malls and they said no, right? A lot of them didn't know who I was. So
mhm.
I decided to go to a mall across from a hospital, and they had a vacant slot for a kiosk in the middle of the main hall. So they gave me a slot there. I'm so grateful for that person who gave me that opportunity, and that one store exploded.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I mean, it was intense. I was in the cafe all morning, and at night, I was still working on the architecture business with two young kids, like I take with me everywhere.
That's so awesome. Like hearing that
Yeah.
hustle story of being able to pull that off, like, and like how cool is that? Like being able to take a family recipe that everyone thinks is, oh, this is nice, this is good, to like turn it into a business. Like that's such a cool concept. And now
Thank
your brother
you.
is running the chocolate business, right?
Yeah. So we grew that business to 7 stores in 3 years. Like we had, and people were, Andrew, people from Singapore, from Hong Kong, from Canada, Japan, they wanted to franchise it. It was so good, but we didn't when you franchise, you need to have really good statistics and numbers and
Yeah.
sales. But we were only like not even 2 years old when we expanded to 7 stores. Yeah, so my brother now has taken over because I'm back in the US,
Hmm.
and he's doing a great job.
And how many stores? Is it still 7 stores, or you guys expanded more?
We're down to 4 stores, but
Okay,
we have a really good wholesale business.
that's right.
So we sell to hotels, cafes, even bakeries. They use our ingredients for their um, baked goods, cakes. So we've expanded. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So talk about that a little bit, because I think some people sometimes think, quote unquote, small picture. They get stuck in the brick and mortar store and thinks it has to be the end all be all. Like, tell us how you learned about the huge opportunities and reasons why people should get into wholesale outside of just brick and mortar.
So I I worked with a Belgian consultant. I won a grant with this Belgian consultant who flew in all the way from Belgium.
Wow.
He owned a chocolate store. He owned a manufacturing plant that brought in chocolate by like those cement trucks.
Yeah. Uh huh.
He said they have that conching trucks in Belgium. Like
Wow.
his factory had to use those trucks because they were producing so much. I applied for a grant, and he came all the way to the Philippines to coach me in terms of how to run a chocolate cafe, right? And he said you need to have a wholesale business, and you also need like to understand how your fast selling items, understand your product movement summary and capitalize on that. And also he said it's good to have wholesale, but when you check out, like in Starbucks, you have all these still small goods that you can sell for like 100, a dollar or $2. So he taught me about retailing, understanding product movement summaries, understanding the customer, and even staggering the release of new products.
Wow, that'd be so cool. Like, did you do anything special to win that grant? Like, how do you even hear about grants like that in the first place?
I just looked because I was so, I'm very curious. I'm like a lifelong learner. And when I obsess about something, I really go right in, even up to finding the suppliers and the beans and all that. So I researched and I it's through a portal, and he came all the way from Belgium for a whole week to
That,
take, to really take care. And like he also gave me really really good feedback that was very humbling, right? Like he said, you're just winging it. You need to make sure you know everything about the numbers. Like what
yeah,
I got stumped by a lot of questions, but that's good because I was young entrepreneur. I didn't know anything about the chocolate business. I'm an architect. Come on,
yeah. No, that
right?
makes
Yeah, yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
cool too. You're able to, yeah. There's so Scott Adams. He's an influencer I like following, and he talks about a concept called skill stacking. It's just like understanding that when you, as you learn different skills as you go throughout life, like being able to combine them to create a master skill and like win at everything essentially. And so the fact that you're able to take your architecture skills to learn how to build a perfect store, and then take your entrepreneur skills to apply it to the chocolate business, like that's so cool and unique. You're able to do that skill stacking there.
You
Um,
know what I learned from architecture school? Drudgery and no sleep and hard work. And so when I started the two businesses, I'm like, oh, it's just like architecture school. I have two kids. One I was breastfeeding, managing the architecture business, and yeah, it was very difficult, but I enjoyed every moment of it.
Makes sense. And are you guys ever going to host a golden ticket competition at all for people to get like free access to Tableau for a day or something?
Oh my God, that's a good idea.
It'd be
Eventually, I
fun.
want to bring it to the US. People are like, I have friends ordering chocolate beans from me. Like Chris's mom loves the hot chocolate, my sipping dark. Maybe, maybe in during my retirement age, I don't know, in a few years, I
Oh
don't
well,
know.
yeah, we'll figure something creative for that because I just got back from a
Yeah.
conference and he was talking. He was like, he did like a Willy Wonka themed brand where he's like, oh, get a golden ticket to get access to my courses and stuff. And he dressed up as Willy Wonka and people loved it. So, yeah, so that's super awesome. But yeah, we'll transition to other things. So tell us, so yeah, I mean, hitting seven figures as a female business owner, like being one of 2% in the world, that's incredible. Tell us what helps create that mindset to like want to think big and be able to go after that kind of goal in the first place.
You need to believe that you will receive, right? If you can't believe it, then you won't receive it. And if you can't visualize it, then you can't even hold it in your hand. So, and that's why my goals are so big, because if I make 50% of my goals, like let's say I want to make 8 figures, right? If I get 50% of that, then that's like 7 figures or whatever. Like it's just, you need to visualize and receive what you don't have yet and own it and feel like you already have it.
I love
Does
that.
that make sense?
Yeah, like how did you learn these visualization skills and like and develop that receiving mindset? Because I know like a lot of people in the world they're like, oh, I'm not worthy, like I don't know how to do it, and they just kind of like take things day by day. Like, so how did you develop those visualization skills per se?
I think it's my experience because when I was young, my parents were struggling. They were struggling. They were new entrepreneurs, right? And it's a lot of it is aspirational. When you taste a good life, right? You want to have the same lifestyle. So when we were young, my parents were struggling. We were really on a tight budget, but I saw my parents, I mean, after 10 to 15 years of being in business, they really expanded their businesses. My dad at one point had over 600 employees with a newspaper. My mom was running a manufacturing company with 300 women that she employed. And then we started to make money. And I'm like, wow, it's nice that nice experience to be able to go to a restaurant. and eat well without really budgeting. Like when I was younger, they were like, "Hey, you can't order that," or traveling around the world and staying in the nicest hotels. So, a lot of people say, "Oh, you're so bougie," or like money is bad. But if I came from a background where we started really with, really humble beginnings, and I saw my parents succeed, and I like that. I could see myself like, I like this life, so I want to work hard so I can afford my lifestyle that I was used to already. Do you understand? Like, yeah. But at the same time, I'm not driven by the lifestyle, though. My dad always said that, you need to live your generosity is the key to success. So the more you give, the more you're open to receiving, like at hand, right? You need to give so you can receive, and
Mm.
give till it hurts, right? You have to give till it hurts and don't expect anything in return. And that's very like, and so I said, Dad, why are you so successful? He's like, because all my life I've been giving opportunities to other people, giving employment. So it comes back to you. So that's the two things that I really have in mind. Like, generosity is the key to success. Give, because when you give, you're open to receiving as well.
Oh, I love that, and I love that analogy you did. That you can't receive until you have an open hand of giving, and
Exactly. People are
yeah.
so tight with their money. Like, one time when I finally opened my offices, you saw that, right?
Hmm.
We have really nice headquarters in Cebu. Like, signing those checks to like renovate that place, the deposit for the, all the insurance. It was a huge chunk of cash, right?
Hmm.
And like, damn, this is a lot. But I was grateful that I was able to pay for all of that, right? Because
Yeah.
now I have a nice office, and now, people want to work there, and I can increase, it's easier to hire people when they have a nice office, right? My clients come to Cebu and work there for a week. So it's like, it's that whole idea of giving, and being open to receiving.
Oh, 100%. And I love the culture you've created within the MGS company. It was awesome visiting your office. It was like you're on like what, the 25th floor or 30th floor or
We're at the
something?
top floor. We're at the top
What,
floor.
what, what floor is that though? Like how many floors
I
up
think
is
the
it?
24th, and then the 24th, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like really cool overlooking the city of Cebu on the 24th floor, and then like how welcoming your employees were to see us, even though we were disrupting their work a little bit. They still are.
Oh, they love seeing Americans. Filipinos love Americans. Plus, we had a saxophone player.
Yeah, yeah. We also brought a saxophone player with us. That helped a little bit
Yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah. That
So
was great.
no, so I love that. Makes a lot of sense. Is this and Steve Harvey actually talks about that too. Like Steve Harvey says, one of the best ways to be successful is to book a first class ticket somewhere. Because, like you said, once you get exposure to how you're treated in first class versus how you're treated in economy class, you're like, wait, I think I want that other experience.
Yeah, I know, but I know it sounds very like, oh wow, that's this. But if I travel like 30 times a year, why not travel business class, right?
Yeah,
Because, like, I need to protect my energy.
yeah,
But obviously, if I can't afford it, I won't pay for it. But,
of course.
right, you need to make sure that your goals also align with your expenses align with your financial situation. You can't just like spend money on stuff that you can't afford. It was a slow, and steady growth. It's kind of like planting seeds, right? In the
Yeah.
beginning, the first 8 years is really slow, but then because you're planting seeds, then all of a sudden you'll see exponential growth if you have patience.
Yeah, and one more quick note on that too. Tim Ferriss talked about that too. That when he was getting booked as a speaker, he would always make sure that if it was a long flight, that obviously these are probably international flights, that his ticket or the way he would be compensated would make sure that the flight had a bed so he could sleep in the bed rather than show up like all dreary eyed and drowsy for his important presentation kind of thing. And so I thought that was a really good point too. That if you're going to be being paid to travel, especially to speak, like make sure you're well rested and have a good flight experience. Otherwise, it ruins the trip anyway, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And so let's see. So tell us more. What do most people get wrong when it comes to scaling their businesses? Like I feel like a lot of people want to scale their businesses, but a lot of them mess up. And it seems like you've figured out some good ways to scale the right way. And I'm sure Mike's helped you a lot too. But what have you learned when it comes to scaling businesses?
Scaling a business is easy. You just have to have you just have to have a good product. That's simple. and a problem to solve, really. You can't scale a business because I want to make seven figures, right? If you have a really, really, really good problem to solve, then scaling is it will just come naturally.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever said scaling is easy before.
I
So
mean, it's not easy, but I'm saying if you're focused on solving a problem, that's what I'm saying. If
yeah.
you're focused on solving a problem, then the money will come. Obviously, with when you have a business, right? You need to do some marketing, right? Be on go on podcasts and go expose yourself to like your different conferences. But if you have a really good problem to solve and you're out there marketing yourself, you're already won, right?
No, that makes sense. So, like, rather than asking the question, like, how can I scale my business, it's how can I make my product better? How can I serve more customers and reach more people? And yeah, how can kind of like, yeah, how can I make the customers happier? Essentially, is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
and I see a lot of entrepreneurs like, oh, I really want to make, my first 100,000, next year. I'm like, they're driven by money, but I don't think that's money is just a result of something. Money is a result of something that is the core of your business, right? So it will just happen. So I mean, I was in the architecture support business really exploded after COVID when construction industry boomed and people during COVID, the women, especially in architecture, didn't want to work anymore because in architecture there's a burnout. Like people really we work a lot and we get paid very little. Since I'm in the architecture support business and the economy exploded at 2020, 21, 22, 23. I think 22 and 23 was when things opened up. People in the US could not find staff, the middle experienced architects, because some of them have quit, moved on to different careers. So that our business exploded because we were providing a service, we were filling the gaps, and that's how we expanded. But in my bio, I said podcasting has changed my life. It's because I showed myself in public. I shared my product to the world that they now know who I am, right? So I don't know. Jay Abraham said, if you have a product or service that can benefit other people, it's your responsibility to share it.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. It's just because yeah, it's unfortunate that quote that everyone thinks is true. Like, oh, if you build it, they will come. But
Yeah,
that's not how it goes. Like you have to.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm very shy. You know me, Andrew. I don't like to brag about things, but when when I worked with my COO now, he really said, when you he I went to Columbia University, I went to NJIT, I have I have a lot of credentials, but I hid that in LinkedIn because I didn't want to brag. But when we started working together, he's like, nope, you need to put that up in
Yeah,
center.
definitely brag.
You
Yeah.
need to
Hmm.
brag. And now when I started the podcast, I wasn't bragging. I was just sharing what I did because now I am helping hundreds of clients, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love
Let's
that.
get to the seven figures, the hundreds of clients and the contracts. So yeah.
Yeah. And so was Mike the reason how to help get you out of your don't brag phase? Now you're being better at bragging because of Mike.
Yeah, Mike helped me a lot. He's like, you gotta put your picture in LinkedIn and like brag about yourself. I'm like, what? Yeah. As Filipinos, we're very modest and humble. But now it's not really bragging. I'm just stating facts, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. Like, we live in a low trust culture and society and business. Like, people are always over promising and under delivering, and so like the more credibility you can add more often is a great thing that you can use to your advantage because like a lot of people claim to have false credentials that don't exist. So it's okay to say that you have credentials to hype you
Yeah,
up.
plus,
Yeah,
like there are so many outsourcing companies out there
yeah,
or like architecture support, but there's no person behind that company. In
yeah,
other words, when I look at an outsourcing company in India or in China, if I were an architect living in the US looking for an outsourcing partner and I stumble upon these websites, I want to know who's behind that company, right? So if it's just a random person, some of them don't even have photos of themselves. So
yeah.
now I'm really putting the photo that I'm highly credentialed, that I worked in the US, that this is my project experience. And now with the podcast, that's how we're getting a lot of leads through shows like yours or industry shows like podcasting shows about architecture and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about podcasting in a moment, but I want you to tell the story of how you met and came across Mike, because I think it's a great story how, like, sometimes we don't realize our blind spots and sometimes it's okay to be resilient. So tell us how you came
Yeah.
across Mike, how you got to work with him, how he helped you. Let's go into that a little bit.
So you know a lot of when I was working with Michael Kors, you know Michael Kors is a creative, but he had John Idol. John Idol is the COO. He really helped Michael Kors expand, right? You
Wow.
hear a lot of stories about a creative partnering up with a business guru and then boom, you build an empire. So I was working already with Michael Kors. Michael Kors became my second biggest client. They're
After
actually
Coach?
bigger than, yeah. I've designed over 4,000 stores for them over the past,
That's awesome.
we're still working together 18, almost 18 years now,
Wow, that's
or
awesome.
maybe 15 years because that was when my second child was born. But we're doing work with them. Um, so I was like, I want to succeed. I want to find a COO who can help me, educate me in terms of how to grow a business. So one day, when I was, I'm living in Cleveland now, my pipeline was running low because we were in the retail space. And in 2012, when Michael Kors was slowing down their production of stores or rollouts because of the Amazon and online shopping, I was like, oh my God, I'm so desperate. I really need help. I go to this co-working space called Lunch House, and Mike was there doing a lunch and learn, and he was talking about how he scaled this business from six figures to 3 million in like 2 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh God, like I'm about to lay off like half my employees because I don't have a pipeline.
Yeah.
I talked to him and said, hey, are you taking on consulting clients? And guys, I don't talk to random people, right? Like that's not my style, but I was so desperate. So I approached him and asked if he would consider working with me. And at that time I thought I had an amazing website. It looks so good. I just redid the website. He's like, let me see what I can do. Let me check you out. So I really was so sure he was gonna say yes. He saw my website. He's like, I can't work with you. Your website sucks. And I'm like, what do you mean it sucks? Like, I just hired a designer. He's like, yeah, but there's no SEO. I can't. What are the analytics? I had nothing behind it. But I said, are you sure? Can we just try it out? Maybe for 6 months. I really need sales because my pipeline is dying. Da da da. He's like, okay, but you need to be very patient, and we need to start over again from scratch.
Wow.
So yeah, that was 10 years ago. Be-
Wow.
he was my business development and then managing director, and now he's COO.
Oh, that's so cool. That's super awesome.
Yeah, yeah. But it was rough hearing that your website sucks. And I thought I was like working with Michael Kors and Coach and like, meeting all these people, partying in New York, and like I really felt like an imposter when I finally like when someone saw like I had no analytics, my website didn't I didn't have SEO and all the things, but I'm grateful for that experience.
Yeah, I'm noticing a theme here, Aya. The Belgian guy said you didn't have analytics for your chocolate. Mike said you didn't have analytics for your architecture. What's going on here?
I know, right? It's the thing, right? Like the thing is, if you know everything, then you have nothing to learn, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Anymore to learn. So yeah.
no, I love that. And so yeah, so tell us a little about what podcasting has done for your brand and your business, and what that journey has kind of been like for you.
Well, I started the podcast, but I didn't know I was starting a podcast. I don't know if I shared that story with you.
Yeah,
During
you
COVID,
said
I
it
was so
perfectly.
I was so desperate because I like my pipeline dried up because no one was building. So I came across this high ticket coaching program called Authority, whatever, something like that. And they said that if you work with us, we'll get you sales within 6 months or something. Oh no, I think 2 months I would get you $50,000 to $80,000 sales within 2 months. And
Wow.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sign up, right? So I signed up. I paid $12,500 to sign up for this because I needed the sales, but I didn't know. that I needed to either write a book or start a podcast. That was in the fine print because
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a secret to marketing, right? Like you can't
Yeah.
just get sales if you don't have a personal brand. So I signed and I realized I had to start a podcast. So that was the beginning. I started a podcast during COVID. It was called Architect My Life for women in architecture. And I started interviewing women in architecture and it grew so I mean, we got a lot of traction because I interviewed women like myself who were business owners who were running firms and people started talking about me and that sharing sharing the podcast because their friends were there. It's a different kind of experience. And then because of that, I was able to gain traction. People knew who MGS was. And when they found out about what I did, they hired me. So my some of my guests became clients. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and so I think people don't realize that too, like how easy it is to be able to build conversations, relationships with people through podcasting.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't
Yeah.
normally have that opportunity to like, a lot of people say, oh, I want to do virtual coffee or can I pick your brain versus like, hey, you want to come on my podcast? Everyone's like, yeah, I'd like to talk about myself. That sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, and also to talk about money, right? For
Yeah.
I was doing my business for the first 8 years. I was at 250 to 500 to 600K like consistently. I never made seven figures. I'm always within 2 to 700, right? Like as soon as I started my podcast, everything just flowed because I mean, I got clients left and right, not by selling, but by them knowing who I was, right? I also think that if in a podcast, especially if it's a video podcast, you will get maybe 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 eyeballs, as opposed to going in a conference where you'll probably meet 20 to 30 people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's digital marketing. It's very inclusive and accessible to everyone who's not afraid to be on camera.
Yeah, and tell us more about that, about your process of bringing people on the show and like how you like don't pitch them, but then they have such a good time they want to refer you. Like, what does that process kind of look like?
So what happens is like I talk to them, on the guest, talk about them and their journey. And then after that I ask them because people sometimes don't know exactly what MGS does or who is I what does people think I'm a podcaster. So after our podcasting, we talk about I introduce myself. I'm like, thanks for being on the podcast. I'm Aya. I was an architect, but now I serve architects. So if you have any need for architecture drafting or support, let me know. They're like, oh, I didn't know you did that. I might need you, or I know a friend who needs you. But this is after the
Of
podcast,
course,
like,
yeah,
right? And I thought, I'm like, is it tacky that I'm sharing what I know? But Jay Abraham, if you have a product or a service that can help other people, it's my moral. He used the word moral obligation to
yeah.
share it with others. So I share everything after the conversation. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, and does any of your guests get offended that you like tell them what you do?
No, not at all.
Okay, okay,
I mean, I really helped. Like there was one of the people that I helped was this lady who posted on Facebook in my Facebook group. I have a women Facebook group. She's like, I'm about to give birth to my fifth child. I'm the breadwinner of my family. My kids are under 10. My husband is a mechanic. And I'm the breadwinner. What should I do? I don't know what to do. How am I gonna survive? So I sent her a DM and I said, hey, before you quit your job or stop seeing clients, taking on new clients, so why don't you work with me temporarily so you don't have to lose your income when you give birth to your fifth child?
yeah,
And that's pretty cool. Like I don't just talk to people and say, hey, hire me. My mindset about giving, remember about
yeah.
serving the client, I said, I can help you when you're breastfeeding, when your baby's new. Let me do all your production so that you don't ever lose your momentum. So when you're ready to work, you're all set. So she came to me. I helped her for 6, 7 months, and now she's rocking and rolling
Wow.
because of that one thing. I have big clients, but I also have people like myself who are young moms who are the breadwinners of the family. So things like that, right? Like it, it comes from a place of really helping others because we're all here in the world to experience a good life, right? If we're also stuck working and not experiencing or having sharing memories, making memories with our families and just hustling and working, what's the point?
Yeah, no, it's so true. I love that story too. It's just like, going back to the relationships that are built through podcasting, like how valuable that is that you literally helped save that woman's life because you guys met through a podcasting platform, right? You said she was a guest on your show.
She was in my Facebook group. I
Oh,
had
she's
a
a Facebook.
Facebook group, my
Oh,
Facebook group. Yeah.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
But you started the Facebook group around the podcast, or
Yeah, I started it because I started the Architect My Life podcast and the Architect My Life Facebook group. So
gotcha.
it's part of the ecosystem of women in architecture. So yeah, I forgot about that. But thinking about the kind of it's not really a pitch, it's sharing what you do,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
It's going back to
Yeah.
like, yeah, podcasting isn't just for you and the guests. It's also a community that's built around the message of you helping women and architects and building a
Y-
community around that, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and so speaking of that story too, so tell us, how do you balance being a super mom and a super CEO? Like, as far as I know, like, seeing you FaceTime your kids, seeing you FaceTime your husband, like they love you, they care about you. Like, how do you pull that off, making both your employees and your family happy?
Oh, I have moments of burnout as well. But one
Yeah.
of the things, I mean, here and there I burn out, but um, I delegate
Hmm.
and I hire a lot of people to help me, even if, like you've seen, I have an executive assistant book all my trips, my doctor's appointments, manage all the, transportation from, my restaurant reservations, like anything, right? Because everything that I, I don't have to do, I don't want to do,
Yeah.
especially the older you get, your time becomes more valuable, right? The older you get, you have more money, but you have very little time. So that's one thing that I'm very good at, delegating. So that's, I mean, obviously it's hard for me. Like I just recently hired house managers, like, because now I'm working a lot, but I want to spend quality time with my daughter. She's going to college soon, hang out with my kids. I don't want to be cooking, doing chores all the time, right? So I have people who help me in the household now.
Oh, I love that. So, yeah, the secret to making everyone happy is delegation.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Uh,
mean, it's a big part. Like, I'm embarrassed to say that I have people doing stuff for me left and right. But can they podcast on my behalf? Can they do the keynote on my behalf? Right? No, I'm the only one who can do it. So yeah, I tend to like I like to delegate as much as I can.
Well, with AI growing and getting stronger, I know people are starting AI podcasts. At the AI tool summit we just hosted, there's a tool called HeyGen apparently where you can like clone yourself, like recording videos and stuff, which is crazy.
Yeah,
But obviously, for the most part, you do still need to be there for obviously be in
yeah. Hey Jen
person.
is they do LinkedIn posts, right? Hey Jen, is it Hey Jen?
Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe, but yeah, like you can
Yeah.
like apparently you just need to record yourself for like 5 minutes recording a video, and
And
then
then you
you
can do that. Yeah,
yeah, and then you can just type in any prompt. It'll be able to see you speaking on screen, which is crazy. But the answer
yeah,
is at the summit as well. It talked about how if you want to stand out in the SEO space, like it's still good to write things yourself. And yeah, you can have AI help with like grammar and stuff or content ideas. But yeah, obviously, yeah, we'll talk about AI tools in a little bit. Okay, so that makes sense about delegation. And then actually, yeah, since we're on the topics, what are your kind of overall favorite AI tools you like to use that helps you in your personal and or professional life, and why?
well, since I'm in in a leadership role, I use Claude AI for strategy, and then I use ChatGPT for general knowledge, webinar topics, um, Perplexity for my search engine,
Hmm.
because I use Notebook LM for my research,
Hmm.
especially when I have to look at YouTube videos. So Notebook LM helps me with that. I also use Notion when I'm actually writing um, posts. So I would ask Claude to help me with content ideas, move it to Chat GPT, and when I get whatever that I like, because Chat GPT knows how I write and my tone of voice, I
Yeah.
move it to Notion, and Notion has a very good AI tool as well, so I can edit them there in Notion. So yeah, those are the all the tools I use primarily for I mean for what I do as a doing marketing and leadership. Yeah.
And so, yeah, so in your AI for Architects podcast, you do like one episode about Perplexity, one episode about Notebook. Like, how do you break up your episodes?
So my podcast is actually breaking down AI tools
Oh,
for architects, architecture tools. So I look at all the bottlenecks that architects have in their process and find tools that help them with those bottlenecks, right?
yeah.
So we've reviewed over 50 AI tools and
Wow.
we've created a white paper with over like 100 pages of tool reviews.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we're doing right now. I'm getting asked to speak in conferences because architects want to know what tools they can use for their company in terms of their pain points, right, and bottlenecks. So that's what I'm doing right now.
No, I love that.
Specific tools. Yeah,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
know, yeah, if you're not keeping up with AI tools in any industry, like you're going to fall behind quickly. So I'm glad that you're the one who's, what's the word, trailblazing on helping architects in that space. Yeah.
You know, it was so humbling because I don't even draft in my company anymore. I don't do any drafting work because
Yeah.
I'm more marketing and sales. But it's kind of intimidating looking at these tools. But you know, I'm starting from ground zero like everyone else, right? And there are a lot of tools that we reviewed a year ago that don't exist anymore. So for architects who really want to explore, you're never too late because things are moving so fast anyways.
Yeah.
So just kind of see what's out there and see what sticks.
No, I love that. And I love the quote too, like AI isn't going to take over the world. The people who know how to use AI are going to take over the world. So you might as well stay one step
Tr-
ahead with everything. Yeah.
Yeah, trust me, as a business owner, like I always want to make sure that people that I hire moving forward, especially in my marketing team, they need to have a basic AI literacy because they're more optimized when they know how to use the AI tools, right? Instead of spending 10 hours, they can do it in 30 minutes or like 10 seconds, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
better. People like saving time.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we have a few more questions here. How do you know when you've made it in life? How are you measuring that for yourself?
I think I just recently hired a coach. You met her in Podfest. She's the Podfest Asia, the health coach,
What,
40s podcast. The 40s.
oh, yeah,
She's
yeah.
my health coach. She
Okay.
helps me with my workout.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a questionnaire. She gave me a questionnaire and rate your happiness level, right? Like, and my happiness was like 8 out of 10. My stress level is very low and I'm very happy. And she said, Aya, this is really amazing that you're very happy because a lot of clients that I have a happiness level of 4 out of 10.
Wow.
And for me, how do I measure success? It's like freedom. I have freedom of time. I can do whatever I want. I can work whenever I want. My kids are, like I'm not tied to a desk job. I mean, no offense to the people who, I respect the people who want their desk jobs, but for me, I'm only in this world for what, another 40 years. I don't know. I just want to be free and have, um, you know, have time to do the things that I value and people that I want to spend time with. So yeah, and being happy. That's for me is really successful. And even when I'm working, Andrew, like 18-hour days, sometimes I'm just very content and really happy, right?
So you feel like you've made it in life. You feel like you've reached your what's the word? Like it sounds like you feel like you've made it in some capacity.
Well, I'm very ambitious, so there's always the next goal, right? Like people
Yeah.
say, Aya, you already did this. Why can't you just receive it and celebrate it? Like I tend to move on to the next thing,
Yeah.
but I'm right now really very content. But I feel like, I see other people, they're stuck in their jobs and they can't get away. For me, I feel very lucky. I'm not gonna say I've reached my goals already, but in general, I feel pretty happy and successful, especially as a woman and a mom. For my kids to see that it's possible to have a career and also raise a family, right? For me, that's very it's kind of an anomaly to start businesses with when your kids are like newborn. Like who
Yeah.
does that, right? Yeah.
No, that's impressive. Like you're defying expectations define the odds, and you're blazing your trailblazing your own path, basically. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love
What
that.
the question was, what do you think I'm all right? I've reached success,
Or how do you
right?
feel
What
like?
was
The question was, how will you know when you've made it in life? Like, will it be like buying your own yacht, or will it just be knowing you can put a 10 out of 10 on the happiness score? Like, just like what
it's
that means
all
for
of
you.
that. It's like one thing, it's community, friendships, relationships, money, and also health is really important. So all of that, right? Everything. Obviously, money is a big factor too, but being healthy is important. I'm trying to regain. I had a back injury, and now I'm getting. I don't have the back injury anymore. So all of the things. I don't think it's just one thing, Andrew. It's like looking at Chris and his community, Podfest founder. It's nice that you have a good community, that you're all supporting each other and uplifting everyone. That for me is a success already, right?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. No, I love that.
But I'm
Um,
not complaining. I'm pretty happy right now.
okay, no, that makes sense. Let's
Yeah.
see. How about and what's the next end game that you're working on? Like, what's the next like pie in the sky goal or objective that you're going towards?
Wow. For some reason, I want to build a boutique hotel in the island
Ooh,
somewhere.
ooh, okay,
Like
okay.
really, I mean, I had like a very brief hospitality experience in the Philippines. So maybe when I retire or in a few years, I really want to start, get a nice property and build a nice boutique hotel by the beach, serve really good food, relax, enjoy, maybe by the mountains. Yeah, that's it. It's an experience based company, right? Something like that. Right now, everyone, you know, right now, people, especially the aging community or, the baby boomers, you see them traveling all over because they have more disposable income. At some point, I want to create that kind of space for people like me who want to just chill by the beach. Yeah. So that's one thing, Andrew. Like maybe a bunch of Airbnbs or a nice boutique hotel, really top notch.
And when people walk in the doors, you give them tablea chocolate too, right?
Everything, the cold towel, the drink. I don't know. Maybe because I watched a White Lotus. No, no.
Listen, you got to do what you got to do. So it's all good.
I kind of want to do that. Like live in part time in the Philippines during the winters in the Ohio, and then open like, a really cool resort. Yeah,
Oh, that'd be fun. I
I can
love
make
that. Well,
aspirations. You're
oh,
invited,
oh yeah, please, yeah. Let me know when it's open. I'll definitely be your first customer,
right?
or at least, yeah. As long as I get the penthouse suite, then that's all I ask. Yeah.
But my goal for MGS is really I want to build the company to around 300 employees
Nice.
in the
Yeah.
next 100 to my stretch goal is 300 employees. Now we're at 60,
Okay.
but realistically, like 100, that's my sweet spot. Those are my near term goals, like my next 3 years to
I love
build,
that.
because, yeah, about
Well,
100, 150.
let's timestamp it. It's May 29th, 2025. So maybe we'll check in a year or two, and you'll already be
Yeah,
at
yeah, yeah.
200. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, this has been
Somebody
amazing.
asked me
I'll go ahead.
wait, yeah, somebody asked me why 300? Why employee count? Because he asked me, why are you obsessed about employee count, right? I'm like, that's 60 families I'm supporting. That's 100 families I'm supporting. And that translates to 100 clients that I'm serving, right? So
Yeah.
he's like, oh, yeah, it makes sense, right?
Yeah. Back to the hand. It's just like you're
Yeah,
giving
yeah, yeah.
back to receive kind of thing. So I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have two questions left today. One of them is how can we best contact you and get a hold of you and learn more about you and connect with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Aya Shlachter. Can you put that on the notes?
Yes, I'll put in the
Or
show notes. Yeah.
Aya, AYA, at mgsglobalgroup.com.
All
But
right.
I live on LinkedIn. If you want to email me, email me there.
Okay. Yeah. We could, so Aya, AYA at mgsglobal.com.
Globalgroup.com.
At mgsglobalgroup.com. Okay. Or Aya Shlachter on LinkedIn. And yeah, we'll put it in the show notes as well. But I'm sure you could look her up with Aya at MGS Global. Okay. And then, yeah, what's the one takeaway you want someone to have from this interview today?
Wow. That's good. One takeaway: if you can believe that you can receive,
Mm. If you believe, you can receive. Yeah.
believe that you can receive, because you know entrepreneurship is hard. I know this is an entrepreneurship podcast. You know, if you want that $1 million, believe that you've already received it. Visualize yourself, so believe that you can receive. It's mindset, a lot of mindset stuff.
I love that. All right. Well, I hope everyone today is inspired to get out and receive and give back and scale your companies and be as happy as Aya. I mean, 8 out of 10. That's pretty good. And yeah, I'll definitely make sure to tune into the next episode. So thank you again for joining Aya, and appreciate you having on today.
Thank you. Bye,
All right.
Andrew.
See ya.